right, good evening. We're live tonight. Studio 6B. Slick Rick is back in studio tonight. I got a call from Big D. He had some laser done today, so feeling a little under the weather. But we have him on the phone, so he'll be on as well. But he asked me to steer the ship a little. So, Slick Rick from the Midwest, back in the seat here on the East Coast, ready to rock and roll. So want to welcome, obviously, our co-host here, the great David Zier. David, how you doing this evening?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Looks like you had a lot of fun at Paisley Park.
Oh, I did. We're going to get into that in a couple of minutes. And we have also our dear friend and guesting in tonight, Kevin Downey, our comedian. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, thank you. I have to ask, did you think Edmonton was going to take that?
I had Florida that last game. I didn't think they would collapse 4 straight for that Stanley Cup. I was talking about our Stanley Cup champions there on Monday night. That was some game. I enjoyed watching that as well. Yeah. Good stuff. And, of course, we have Big D, my man. He's on the phone. Big D, come on in.
Hi, sir. How you doing?
I'm
Guys,
doing good.
Good evening. To the audience, good evening. I'm sorry I can't be with you. I had every intention of being in the studio tonight, but I had second laser surgery today, and it was long and rough, and my eye is definitely not ready to sit under those lights and sit in a chair for 2 hours right now. So I'm here, but I'm on the phone. Looking forward to a good night. Lots to talk about, Slickster, and I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. To get caught up on everything. I don't know if anything happened in the news. I was so busy in the purple world, I wasn't paying too much to the. A couple of alerts came up.
Biden dropped out while you were away.
Oh, then Big D owes us a trip to the Sphere then in Vegas. I got to start packing. I got to repack my bags again. Anyway, yeah.
Actually, Delgado did a story last night, Slick, that I think he's a little worried about because the Democrats are on the move to get Biden officially in as the nominee even earlier than the convention. So Delgado was almost crying when he did the report last night. So I think you guys are in trouble in that bet, but we'll see.
I didn't catch that, but I got to tell you, Delgado not here tonight as well. Rick had a graduation tonight, so he could not be with us as well. Otherwise, he'd be running the ship as he normally does, filling in admirably for Big D. But Big D asked me to drive the ship a little bit and let these gentlemen have the opportunity, probably get a chance to talk a little bit more now that I'm the host, huh? But I do want to.
You will.
Yes, of course. I got to sit back and let it roll. So great to be back here on Long Island. I flew in right into Long Island last night, and I'm here. I'm well rested. I got on the plane, and I texted the guys last night. Texted the group, and as I'm getting on the plane, I'm a little tired, this and that, and I see a gentleman who is a pilot. He wasn't actually piloting the plane, but when pilots, they fly, I guess, to different destinations. And as soon as I walk in, I see this guy, got the the general stripes there and all that, right? Looks at me, Captain Stripes, I should say, and says, "How's Damon doing?" I'm like, all right,
that's funny.
I'm heading back. I was in Baltimore actually, and I had to laugh. What? That was
they
great.
call them deadheaders, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it was good to see that. So I enjoyed that.
I mean, that's unbelievable, Slick, that he said that to you. And obviously he must have obviously recognized you first, but he didn't say anything to you. He just said, "How's Damon?"
Like I know him for 100 years, and it was great. And I didn't catch the gentleman's name. Man, I was zonked because I was getting on a plane and people were taking pictures of me. It was a wild trip that I had. I'll just really quickly just touch base on it. So I went to Minneapolis. It was the celebration of Purple Rain, Prince, the 40th year, which I look, people go, that was 40 years ago? That's just how life is, right? We can't believe 1984, but that's when it was. Actually, the album was released 40 years ago yesterday. So we had a great celebration at Paisley Park in and around Minneapolis. Fun city. You got to be careful there, but it's a fun city. I had a good time. I rolled with some great people and ran into tons of folks, some people that knew the show as well, which was great. So had the opportunity to dance on Prince's stage. I believe you guys, I sent you a little snippet clip. That was actually unreleased music from his vault from 1985, a song called Friction. And I had an opportunity to get on there with a couple of ladies, and we danced to that, and I tore that stage up. You don't put me on Prince's stage. Putting me there is like dropping a peacock into a Monet watercolor. You ain't going to miss with that. I promise you that. I got to deliver because I've been doing this since I'm a kid.
Did you do any ballot harvesting in Little Mogadishu?
No, I didn't. You kid me. No politics for me, man. I was too busy rocking it, man, in the purple world, having a good time and taking it all in. So good stuff. But it's great to be back. I missed you guys. Missed the show. I know this is what I meant to be, and I feel like I'm glad to be back and just in time now to be the host, if you will. So hopefully we'll do a good job tonight and get a lot of word out. And so I don't know if we want to do Big D. Want to do a little news now? Where do you like to go with this?
Yeah, well, I mean, There's a lot to talk about. I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad you're back, Slick. I'm glad to hear you had a great time. We did show your video, and obviously we had no doubt that you were going to have a good time. But you know what we've been doing the last. Well, first of all, remember tomorrow night's the debate. So you got the debate tomorrow night. Real America's Voice is going to have great coverage starting at 8:00. Brian Glenn joined us last night. He was fantastic. So make sure you tune in. David Zero will be at the America's First Warehouse, and of course we'll be live on all our socials as well. So you'll have lots of coverage of the debate, obviously tomorrow night. But Slick, what I've been doing is I'm always interested in what the guys kind of what catches their attention in the news of the day. And I'm sure Kevin and David have something today. For me, I'll just start since I started last night too. For me, it's the Supreme Court. I mean, I have to tell you, if anybody out there thinks the Supreme Court is going to be there to save Trump, you just look at what happened today, because this decision today is just really quite unbelievable. I mean, the Supreme Court decision to basically allow the U.S. government to demand the removal of misinformation on social media. I mean, Senator Mike Lee said today is kind of like the old American Pie song from Don McLean, the day the music died. Today is the day the First Amendment died. I mean, if there's anybody out there that thinks, Amy Coney Barrett at this point is absolutely a disaster. She is not an originalist. She has no originalism that goes into any of what she writes. I think she just writes about what she feels today, what she feels yesterday. I kind of feel this, I kind of feel that. And that's how she's given us opinions. I mean, she is an utter disaster at this point. And I mean, no one's surprised about Roberts. But when you take a look at the makeup of this court and you look at this decision today, one of the most fundamental issues that we are facing, our First Amendment free speech rights in this country, under attack by the Biden administration, and now being basically upheld by the Supreme Court saying, you want to rule with an iron fist? Go right ahead. We're all for it. I mean, it's really something to be seen. And if people out there think the Supreme Court is going to be there to save President Trump, this is what I've said all along. I would not want to put my hopes into John Roberts and the makeup of this court. So for me, that is absolutely the standout issue of the day. Quite a disgusting display from the Supreme Court for me.
Yeah,
so
it's a license to remove your posts.
Yeah, absolutely.
With pressure from the administration, regardless of who's in power.
What did you see today, David? What did anything catch your eye?
What did I see today?
Plenty.
I saw that I had a great guest on Breaking Point this weekend. We're talking about all these red light cameras, 20 mile an hour, 25 mile an hour speed zones. I have in Liar Liar when he pushes the button on his glove compartment and all the tickets fly out. That's me with red light camera tickets and, radar tickets in New York City. You can only go 40 miles an hour on the Long Island Expressway now in Queens. Whole thing's out of control. But what really caught my eye was the Jamal Bowman race and other races. I have a little summary for you guys on Trump's victories across the country last night and some of the losses and how Bowman had 14.3% of the Westchester County population, which are Jewish, which is well above the national average, came out in force along with AIPAC spending over $17 million to take out Bowman because of his pro-Palestinian positions. But it's not the only reason he lost, but it's the most ever spent on one race. It's the most a single group has spent on a congressional race this cycle, and it made this House primary the most expensive in American history. But I got a lot of data for you guys tonight. So,
well, you're going to have a lot of opportunity tonight, Mr. Zia. We can't wait to hear from you. And Mr. Downey, how about you? What caught your eye today, my man?
This steams my clams. A 15-year-old girl was gang raped in Hamburg, Germany by asylum seekers, as they like to say. And there's 10 of them. The whole rape took over 2.5 hours. Repulsive. So one of them gets 3 years, and the other 9, one of them gets acquitted, and the rest of them, we've got 8. None of them do a day in jail.
What?
And to make it worse, a 20-year-old woman, we don't know her name, hasn't been released, but she found the number of one of these animals and sent him messages calling him a dishonorable rapist pig and a disgusting miscarriage. Well, the globalists in Germany don't like that. So this woman who's 20, she did this. Well, she just got 3 days in jail for being a hater.
Yeah.
For insulting rapists who gang raped this woman for over 2 hours. And she was 15. And so this 20-year-old woman, she gets 3 days in jail, which is more then 8 of the rapists they didn't serve a day. Keep in mind, this is the same toilet country that fined a politician for saying, "Hey, I noticed on the crime stats that most of these gang rapists are from Northern Africa. They're asylum seekers," and she got fined for saying that. So we've got another situation like we had in England where women are just thrown under the bus. You're going to be raped, and that's it's all there is. And if you insult the rapist, well, you're gonna either pay a fine or go to jail. You can't do that. You can't call them a dishonorable pig racist or a disgusting.
She offended gang rapists.
She offended gang rapists.
And in England, they have these. Not only are they like no-go type zones, but the police can't even intervene in a lot of cases. They leave it to the local Muslim councils to resolve.
Yep. And David, let me ask you, what do you think the local Muslim council is going to do when their boys are out there gang raping British women? Do you think they're going to say anything about that?
They don't, and they hide it, and they hide abuse of the wives of many Muslim families and mothers, and England has been neutered completely.
Absolutely.
Yes, 100%. And it's coming here, folks. Believe me, everything you see in Europe, it'll take 5 to 7 years. It'll get here.
It's like the Beatles.
Yep.
Coming over.
Whether it's congestion pricing or a gang rapist, you can't offend with words. It's coming here if we don't vote now. Well, November, not now, but you know what I mean.
Everything makes its way over the pond this way, right? Good and bad.
5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years may be maybe a little too kind. It could be here already now. If you listen to Mayorkas today out there taking questions, which was a disgrace, and the reporters who ask questions are just. I mean, this is why the people hate the press. I mean, the questions. There was more questions from the press on why we were turning away people and how dare we, and if they have a right to asylum, than there were about the people, the citizens who live here, and the danger that they're in with ISIS and everybody else pouring across the border. I mean, these questions from these reporters, I tweeted about it. I just couldn't believe what I was listening to. They were more for why we're not allowing every single person in than they were for what's the danger posed to the American citizen right now.
Yeah, and in England, to go back to that for a second, the French was sending over small boats. 900 illegals arrived in one day on June 19th, I believe, in England. And Ben Berquam's over there. I don't know if he's leaving yet, but he was trying to get footage. So I know he was heading down to the English Channel to see if he can capture some of these small boats.
I'm sure we'll have some of that. And so we're going to wrap this segment up. And coming up, I'm going to have also a little sports, get you caught up. We got a new Stanley Cup champion. I was out a few days, so I want to talk about that. And, night one, NBA draft in action right now. So Atlanta Hawks on the clock. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Get a little sports in there. I'm sure the group is really missing sports. So we'll be back in a little bit.
Everybody out there, including Getter. Our wonderful.
I should be, yeah.
Shout out to the Getter.
Yes.
The Geeters, as Delgado says.
The Geeters.
Packing Heat, Tweet Potato, Ravmod 2 and 3. We love you guys. Mo Man Me, what's up? What's cooking? Uncle Louie 12.
Uncle Louie.
Uncle Louie.
I love Uncle Louie.
I had an Uncle Louie. Flew in the 8th Air Force in Europe.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, my great uncle. Used to play pinochle with Carlos Gambino.
Oh, my God.
You have the best mob stories.
Oh, my God.
You do.
He was the only house on the block, Carlos Gambino, in the Shores in Massapequa on Riviera Drive and Sunset that didn't have trees behind it, so we couldn't be ambushed from the bay. There was always somebody looking,
Always.
Nice. That's clever.
Yeah.
Legs Diamond, he had a little place upstate, and he painted the trees white so we could see silhouettes.